My presentation is not strictly devoted to an environment, but about development of financial markets, especially retirement products addressed to individuals, because I think sustainable society means also sustainable financial markets. And I think that sustainable financial markets mean respecting the needs and limitations of all the key players on the markets, also individual savers. Okay, I have some problems with the slide. Okay. So this concept of sustainable finance includes the issues of income inequality. And I think this income inequality may be increased by participation in supplementary pension system if this part of the pension system offers products that don't meet the needs of individuals and if the products are costly or inefficient in providing adequate income at retirement. So the supplementary pension systems, in my opinion, are for sure profitable for financial providers, but not maybe for individuals. And we suppose that they are not well tailored and gainful for the majority of individuals. So the aim of the research is the assessment of transparency, readability, efficiency, and costliness of pension contracts that were offered on Polish supplementary pension market. And this study that we conducted is the first study on readability, transparency of individual retirement contracts. It's the first comprehensive one that covers the cost, the linguistic aspects, the investment efficiency of a supplementary pension system in Poland. We covered about 90% of the Polish market of individual retirement products. We analyzed about 77 products out of 86 that were products existing on the market at the beginning of 2017. And our research hypothesis is that the more complex is the structure and the more difficult the language used in individual pension contract, the worse is the efficiency, investment efficiency, and the higher are the cost of the products. I conducted the research not only on myself, but the research team includes 5 women. It's also Kamila Bielawska from Gdańsk University, Milena Hadrian from Adam Mickiewicz University, Patrycja Kowalczyk-Rulczyńska from Wrocław University of Economics and Business, and Sylwia Pieńkowska-Kamieniecka from University of Warmia and Mazury in Olsztyn. Just to give you a short look at the Polish pension system, we have 3 pillars. The first and the second are mandatory ones. So the public pension goes from the first and the second pillar, and then we have the supplementary third pillar, and it concludes collective plans and individual plans. These collective plans are PPE, they are organized by employers, or PPK. These are capital pension plans that were introduced in 2019, and our study is devoted to this individual retirement products. The acronyms are IKE and IKZE. I think I should use these original acronyms because they, I think, better correspond to the data. So a few words about the measures we used in the study. We measured difficulty and readability of text, the text of contracts, namely, for example, general rules of insurance. So the difficulty is an objective text feature. We measured it by so-called FOX index that indicates how many years of education you need to understand the contract. The other ratio is percentage of verbs. The higher is the percentage of verbs, the more readable is the text for the reader. And then other measure is readability. That is a bit different from difficulty of the text, because readability is a feature connected to the text recipient, his/her reading ability, knowledge, engagement, education. So it takes into consideration the characteristics of the recipients. And we use computer application Jasnopis to assess the difficulty class that informs about the level of education necessary to understand the text. And the third measure in this linguistic area was the transparency, and it's the quality of graphic text representation. We built a 5-point scale. It was an expert desk analysis, including typeface, type size, structure, graphics, meta text, for example, summaries that are in contracts, and direct expressions, whether they are existing or not in the contracts. And a few words about this readability or difficulty scale that is measured by our application Jasnopis. Difficulty classes are from 1 to 7. The 1 is the simplest text, and the 7 is the text that is the most complicated. And from 5 points, 5 points and above, you need higher education to understand the text of the contract. So it's too much complicated, in our opinion, for the average user of financial products. And here you have the results, aggregated results of our research about readability. In the first column, you have the difficulty class. So you can see that all the texts have difficulty class 5 or above, and the majority of them are 6 or 7. Then that means that you need a higher education, master in science, or even doctorate to understand the pension contract. There is no differentiation between sectors of financial market, because life insurance contracts, bank contracts are as much difficult as others. So there is no differentiation between financial market sectors. And what about transparency? It's a bit more differentiated, but still only 2 texts of this 77 analyzed reached 5 points that get maximum points in transparency test. And the majority of them don't get even the half of the points that were assessed. So it also shows the low transparency of text that are offered, of text of contracts that are offered on the Polish market. And then we measured efficiency, and we indicated the real 5-year average rate of return. This rate was calculated for the period 2012 and 2016. It was only a 5-year period because the second type of individual retirement accounts was introduced in 2012. So it's rather a short period of their existence. That's why we have to shorten the analysis of this efficiency, that just to make these products comparable. So we calculated the real annual average interest rate of bank accounts, also the rate of return of voluntary pension funds. It was these 2 types of financial markets, these products from these 2 types of financial markets was the easiest work, because we have only one voluntary pension fund if such an instrument exists. So there is no variety of funds with different risk profiles, and bank account is the most conservative product in the whole offer. And then we have the products of life insurance and asset management companies. And it was much complex because they offer a variety of funds with different risk profiles. So we decided to build a model investment portfolio that consists of equity fund, bond fund, and balanced fund. And we calculated the rates of return for these model portfolios, not just for single funds, but for portfolios of funds in these companies. As you can see, the highest returns were achieved by voluntary pension funds. It's the fourth figure on the slide. And I think that the scales will give you more information about the height of the rates than the differentiation of these bars. But undoubtedly, the voluntary pension funds were the most effective. What is interesting, all the retirement products achieved a positive real rate of return for this 5-year period, except one product of asset management company that can be assessed very positive. And then we also calculated the costliness of individual pension products. We measured a 5-year cost ratio. It informs about what is the percentage of total fees charged from the contributions during the 5-year period. And the lowest costliness was indicated in banks because no fees are charged if the account is valid for the time period more than 12 months. Banks charge only cancellation fees. And then we have lower fees in voluntary pension funds and higher in asset management companies and life insurance companies. You have a rather wide spread in this cost index because the level of cost mainly depends on the risk profile of funds. So the more aggressive it is the fund, the higher are the costs. So, but we also see that it depends also on the type of, maybe not the time, but the group of financial institutions that offer it. So in some financial groups, the costs are higher and in the other are much lower. It depends, I think, on the strategy of the financial group on the market. And then we calculated the correlation analysis to check whether there are some correlation between these traits of contracts. We calculated the Spearman's rank correlation coefficient and used the non-parametric test to assess the significance of Spearman's rank correlation. So we did it for sectors of financial markets. I mean the types of financial institutions. And we find, for example, for asset management companies, that the more transparent a contract is, the more readable, understandable it is. So it's very positive. We expect it should be so. The more efficient a product is, the lower its cost. It's also very logical and very intentional for the market. But the more readable a contract of this asset management company is, the lower is the efficiency of the retirement account and the higher are its costs. So it's unlogical. It may suggest that there is no intentional strategy regarding linguistic characteristics of the contracts on the market. Then we have life insurance companies. Life insurance companies offer retirement products in the form of unit-linked life insurance. And here we indicated that the higher is the gradability of contract, the lower its costliness, and it's also logical and expected. But the lower are the costs, the less efficient is the contract. So it's totally unexpected. In banks, we show that the more readable a contract is, the higher is the rate of return, and so also very logical and intentional, I think. But the more readable a contract is, the lower is its transparency. So some paradox about the linguistic characteristics of the product. So they can be readable but untransparent, or untransparent but unreadable. And the more readable a contract is, the higher are its costs. So I don't know whether it also suggests that there is no, I think, strategy of financial institutions, because if there was such a strategy, I think the higher cost should be hidden in less readable contract, not more readable. And the final financial sector, voluntary pension funds, we observe that the more readable a contract is, the more transparent it is. So it's also very positive and expected. So the linguistic side of these contracts is coherent, I think. And conclusions. We observe that you have to graduate from a university to understand a contract of individual retirement product in Poland. So it's very negative. Unreadability comes mainly from the difficult language used, but it's deepened by the lack of transparency of these contracts. The least transparent are contracts offered by banks. So banks pay the least attention to the linguistic part of the contracts, maybe because they are the biggest financial institutions in Poland, because they have the biggest number of clients. They don't want to take care about it. The most transparent texts are this of life insurance contracts, because some companies, life insurance companies in Poland, employed linguistic experts just to verify the level of difficulty of contracts, and it's the new trend on Polish market. The most efficient, both in nominal and real terms, are voluntary pension funds, because they reached extraordinary results in 5-year period. Costs are the highest in products offered by life insurance, but very complex fee structure is also in asset management companies. And the correlations between analyzed variables differ a lot among various types of providers and are multi-directional. We observed no general strategy for the whole market, but some intentional strategies may exist for market segments, so for the sectors of financial markets. And the final 3 conclusions. Supplementary pension market in Poland needs to be more focused on the needs and the literacy level of individuals. So it, I think, operates a part of it. I think it don't takes into account the characteristics of individual savers. Sustainable finance and sustainable old age security cannot be realized without readable, transparent, efficient, and cost-effective retirement products. If no action are being implemented by the Polish Financial Authority, the supplementary pension market in Poland could lead to mis-selling, higher income inequalities. I mean, less educated people may buy these inappropriate products, and unintended redistribution towards financial providers if these contracts remain not cost effective. And that's all. Thank you.